Hello everyone, my name is Mark Tenya with the Richmond Ambulance Authority, and I'd like to thank all of you for joining us for today's virtual event with the American Heart Association. We're trying to get as many people as possible to learn hands-only CPR and how to use an AED. But before we get to today's demonstration, we wanted to highlight a success story. Back in 2016, we played a small part in the survival of a man who collapsed after having a sudden cardiac arrest. Here's a short news clip showing what happened.
It's a race that took 7 weeks to complete.
When I start to do something, I want to finish it, and I just felt bad that I hadn't finished.
Sunday afternoon, Bill Hughes got the chance to finish his race and thank the people who saved his life.
It's overwhelming to think about how many people helped me that day, and all of the timing. The timing had to be just right. And I was just so blessed.
Hughes says he can't remember anything after the time he fell, but his daughter remembers it vividly.
I feel like he grabbed my arm, and then he hit the floor, hit the ground, face planted.
Bethany Gordon knows CPR, so she was the first to start compressions.
The lady next to me said, "Are you a relative?" And I said, "I'm his daughter." And she said, "Let me take over." So then that's basically when I just started to fall apart, and I just was crying. I was praying, I started calling people.
And now, because of his survival story, they hope more people will learn how to perform CPR.
And I think back to 5 years ago when my brother died of a heart attack. And if more people had known how to do CPR back then, could he have been rescued?
He survived the heart attack, but he couldn't get over that he hadn't crossed the finish line.
It's just been something that's been bothering me for 7 weeks, that I hadn't finished this race.
That is, until today.
To be able to now finish it, it means a lot to me.
The race was complete, but this time with a new support system he never thought he'd have.
And we are so thankful to have Bill Hughes joining us now to tell us a little bit about his experience from that day.
Hi, my name is Bill Hughes. In April 9th of 2016, I was participating in the annual Monument Avenue 10K. And I always do it with my two daughters, and two son-in-laws. And we're going along. It's a jog, it's not a walk, at least back then. And so we're moving along. It was kind of a cool day. It was actually a few flurries that day, so it was kind of surprising, that being April and all. So we got through the first half of the race, no problems. Again, it was kind of cool, but with all the music going on and everything, it was just a real fun event. And I've ran it a number of times. That was probably my fourth or fifth time I'd run it. And I just was remarking to my daughter that, hey, well, we're at the halfway point. Haven't got too much, where it's all downhill more or less. And so we're going along. And then all of a sudden, I just blacked out. I don't know what it was. It just, all of a sudden, I just went down. And I have to go on what people told me until I came to kind of, this is what was relayed to me. My daughter was with me, my daughter Bethany, the whole time. And Emily, my other daughter, and her husband had gone ahead of us a little bit. So they had gone on. So it was just Bethany and I. And so I went down, face planted right into the pavement. And so I'm out. So Bethany comes over, turns me over, and sees that I'm not breathing. So she immediately starts the CPR. And fortunately, there were some other bystanders there, and they also kind of helped out, and they sort of got a tag team of CPR going for the first minute or so of me being down. Then also, very fortunately, a EMS person who was running the race for the first time, his name is Matt Howell, came up and he saw the situation. So he took charge, and he made like a team. You know, you do this, the CPR, you stand by, and Bethany, you stand here and take a break. And so then Bethany calls my wife, and then, all that, and it's pretty much chaos because my wife is not even there. She is back home. Well, she's at my daughter's house in Goochland because she was babysitting our granddaughter at the time. So then a policeman comes up a couple of minutes later, and he's carrying an AED. So fortunately, Matt knows, being an EMS, what to do. So he hooks me up and does a charge, and it gets my heart rhythm going again. You know, it's still kind of sporadic, but at least it's doing something. So then an ambulance comes up from the Richmond Ambulance Authority, and they take me by ambulance to St. Mary's Hospital. So it's about this time that I regain consciousness. And in my mind, I am still running the race. And so when I come to, I notice that there's something covering my nose and mouth. And I'm thinking to myself, how can I finish the race with this covering on my mouth? So I try to take it off. And then the ambulance personnel hold it on. And my daughter, Bethany's in the front of the ambulance. She says, "No, Dad, no, don't take that off. You're not running. You're in the car. You're in an ambulance going to the hospital." And I'm thinking to myself, what happened? And I just thought, oh, if I could just get out of this ambulance and finish the race, and they can go check me out all they want. I just wanted to finish the race. So anyway, we get to the hospital, and they run tests. And at first they think that some stents will take care of the problem. So this is a Saturday. So they do the tests on Monday and determine that stents will not clear the problem, that I have blockage, and I'm going to need a triple bypass. So Wednesday, 2 days later, I have the triple bypass. And that they perform that surgery, and it all goes well. And by Saturday, a week later, I'm being released from the hospital to go home and recover. So I recover at my daughter's home in Goochland. So I stay there and recover for a week, and then go back. The surgeon checks me out, says, "Yep, you're good. I'm going to give you a 10-year warranty." And so he tells me, you need to adjust your diet, and all along, throughout the process, I'm giving them my family history and everything about my dad and my brother. And I have another brother and 2 sisters, and they've never had any kind of problems like this. So it was just one of those things that it did hit me. And I'm a fairly active person. I did a lot of jogging and whatnot, and I always jogged the 10K for the Monument Avenue. So since that happened, I still am very active, exercise every day and all, but I've adjusted my diet. I've really cut out a lot of the fatty foods like bacon. I might have it every once in a while, but I'm eating a lot more fresh vegetables. I'm leaner meats, and continuing to stay active. And I just want to say that I have learned a lot from this event. And the main things I would like to leave you with is very important that you know how to use a CPR, how to do and perform CPR, and how to use the AED, which will save a life. And you see these AEDs all throughout buildings, that you go to, banks or what have you. And it's important that you know how to use it. The second thing I'd like to mention is that you should know your family history, your family medical history. It is, in particular, if you've had any family members that have had problems with their heart attack, stroke, whatever, you need to be that much more vigilant to your own health, and be, careful about what you eat, and staying away from the fatty foods, and eating healthy. And so the last thing I'd like to say is, please be active. Don't just sit around watching television all day. You need to get out and exercise. And exercise is simply walking. My goal is to walk 12,000 steps a day. And it doesn't take that long. And to me, if you do 12,000 steps, that's a little over 5 miles. It's good exercise. It's real easy. You don't need a bunch of fancy equipment. All you need is your tennis shoes and yourself. And you go out there and hit the road. And if you do that, I think your chances are going to be a whole lot better. So please know how to do those things, and I think you'll be fine. That's my story.
Bill, we are so grateful that you joined us today, and we thank you for sharing your story.
I'm happy to do it. If it'll help anybody, then I'm all for it. Like I say, 4 years ago, who would have known it would happen to me? But it did. I'm just so thankful that people reacted. In particular, my daughter Bethany and that EMS Matt Howell. There's also a couple other lady medical people that assisted that day. 7 weeks later, we all met at the Richmond Ambulance Authority, and had a little interview about that, and then we finished the race. And that was really a magical day to do that, and I felt so much better having been able to finally finish it, although we just walked it, which is fine. And I'm looking forward to September when we do it again. And you just got to stay active, you do.
Thanks again, Bill. Now we'd like to give you a quick demonstration on how to perform hands-on CPR and how to use an AED. In just a few minutes, you can learn how to save a life. Here's Harold.
Hey guys, how you doing? This is Harold Mayfield. I'm the training coordinator at Richmond Ambulance Authority, and I'm here to talk to you today about CPR and AED. With these tools in place, you can learn how to save a life. First thing we have to do is identify whether someone needs CPR or not. If you come across an unconscious teen or adult, tap them on the shoulder and ask them if they're okay. If you don't get any type of response, point somebody in the crowd and tell them to call 911. If I just say, hey, someone called 911, you're going to look at you, you're going to look at you, you're going to look at you, no one's calling at the time. But if I point straight at you and say, hey, you call 911, you're going to be like, let's go do this. So that way it'll start a lot faster too, and clear up any type of confusion whatsoever. And once 911 has been called, or you are by yourself, what you need to do is place your phone on speaker and put it right beside the patient. This way you have your coach in your corner. They're going to talk to you. They're going to make sure that your compressions are fast enough. Or if you're going too fast, they're going to tell you to slow down. If someone is unresponsive and not breathing, then we need to perform CPR. So the way we're going to do that is, first we have to identify landmarks. And the way you find that is you find the nipple line, and then right dead in center is going to be the sternum. We use the bridge of our hand, put it right on top of the sternum. Then you interlock your fingers to each other. All right, you're going to make sure your arms are completely straight and stiff, and then you're going to bend at the waist to do the compressions itself, okay? When you're doing this, you want to do this in a rate between 100 and 120. A good key song is Baby Shark, Imperial Death March, and staying alive is another one. So if you're doing it, it should look something like this. All right, during that time, hopefully either help's coming or your partner comes, and they're gonna bring an AED with them. The good thing about these things is they talk you through the whole thing. What they do is you turn it on, and it's gonna tell you what to do next.
Apply pads to patient's bare chest.
The other good thing is the pads themselves have pictures on them to show you exactly where they're supposed to go. So once you put the pads in place where they're supposed to go, and you plug it in,
apply pads, plug in connector.
so it talks you through the whole thing.
Analyzing heart rhythm. Do not touch the patient. Shock advised. Charging. Stay clear of patient. Deliver shock now. Press the orange button now.
So what you're going to want to do though is make sure when you do hit this button to deliver the shock that no one is touching the patient whatsoever. So what we always say is, I'm clear, you're clear, we're all clear. Then you press and hold the button.
Shock delivered.
Once you've done all this, as soon as these shocks are done, you go straight back into the CPR. So nice, hard, fast compressions. So you might want to ask yourself, why is this important for me to know? Well, most cardiac arrests actually happen outside of a hospital. So it's not going to be me or a nurse or a doctor who's going to be doing the initial compressions on a person. It's going to be a family loved one, a friend, someone that you know. So therefore, that is why it's important for you to know how to do this, because you can save their life.
And again, we'd like to thank all of you for joining us for this virtual event with the American Heart Association. We're now going to have a live Q&A with Harold, the training coordinator you just saw, as well as Bill Hughes, the man that survived that sudden cardiac arrest. Just click on the Zoom link below.